Today I'm going to be talking about Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. This book is a YA contemporary book that deals with a girl named Kath who is going to college for the first time, and she has some anxiety, social anxiety, and yeah, she's being separated from her twin sister, and she's really used to kind of sticking with her, and so she's on her own kind of thing. And it's about her, and she writes fan fiction for like a similar kind of Harry Potter kind of thingy. It's called Simon Snow. It's similar to Harry Potter, and that's what she does in her free time. Start off by saying a quick disclaimer is that I personally did not enjoy this book very much. I gave it 2 stars, and I have reasons why, so chill before you dislike this video. But I did this with my friends Jessie and Kayla, and we all felt the same way about it, and it wasn't funny, but it was kind of weird how we all didn't like it. It's considering we all thought we would really enjoy it, so it was just really surprising. But let's get into the review. The first part of this will be spoiler free, and then we'll get into some spoilers. First up, let me pull out my phone, which has my Goodreads review on it. We're gonna put this somewhere. We're gonna put it near Voldemort. All right. So, things that I actually enjoyed about this book was, one was the anxiety representation, though I wish we had more of it. I really liked and appreciated the way it was described. So a quote from it I have was, to take anxiety, she felt like black static behind her eyes and extra hard in her throat, and shove it all the way down to her stomach where it belonged, where she could at least tie it up in a nice knot and work around it. And there's obviously the relationship with Kath and Levi, which is on the back of the book, so it is not a spoiler, but there was some things I liked, not gonna lie, at the beginning I was really loving Levi. Just his, I don't know, the way he was described as like smelling like coffee and cologne, which is kind of like something I like. And then there's just a few things that I like that are more spoilery, but that's about it. And yeah, it wasn't horrible. I was just kind of meh throughout the whole book, but you know, I never thought about DNFing it, so it wasn't like that. Getting into my actual issues with this book. So we'll start off with obviously my cons with this book. So there was many offensive jokes made about this book, and I feel, and so do Jessie and Kayla, we were saying that if this was in any other book, it would be highly criticized, but because it's in Fangirl, I've never seen anybody talk about it before. So one quote that says, "Are you one of those freaky eaters?" Which, again, you may not think this is a big deal, but really, because Kath is only eating granola bars at one point because she's stressed and she doesn't want to leave her room, and then her roommate's like, "Are you one of those freaky eaters?" And I'm like, oh jeez. Not to mention Levi making jokes about gay couples constantly. So Simon Snow is actually a gay fan fiction that Kath writes. So he literally goes up and says, "Do you have to make gay homemade Simon Snow posters? Is it your job to make Simon gay?" I'm like, really? Can you relax, man, and stop really Then there's some things with her dad that goes on later in the book, so I'll talk about that in the spoilers. But there's a few jokes that are made that says, because he's north bipolar. That's not a joke. Are you kidding me? And then there's another one that says, because the chimneys make him claustrophobic. Are you kidding me? Did no one really notice any of this? And it's just surprising to me. I get why people part of me gets why some people like it, but I scroll down my Goodreads, everyone that I follow has given it 5 stars, and it's just I get that it can be relatable for some people who are going to college or the anxiety representation, but I just felt for a book that is said to have such great representation for mental health, they're constantly making fun of other mental illnesses and other things. Oh my god, I couldn't. Kath and Levi were so gross near the end of this book that it really bothered me. Well, no, I'll talk about this in my spoilers. Okay. So here's the thing with Carry On, at first I was kind of liking it, and then I just stopped caring. So I'm not going to be reading Carry On, but then there was this cliche of Ren, the outgoing twin, and then Kath, the uglier and quieter twin who doesn't go out much, and she was constantly shaming Ren for going out. And then this book could have dealt with alcoholism so well, but it just totally skimmed over it, and a page later everything wrapped up fine. Kath was so jealous of everything. A quote is, she hated listening to him talk to other people. Huh? Kath constantly threw around the word crazy because there is some things going on with her father, and she constantly is like, "Oh, I'm so crazy like him, oh my god, he's so crazy, blah blah blah." So I felt a lot of things were skimmed over or implied, but they were just never said or stated fully. And there was just so much sugarcoating about so many topics, and that was just really sad to see because I felt like it could have made such an impact with the topics that the book was talking about. Not to mention Kath thinks she's honestly top shit. Like, she goes around saying, because I'm writing Gemma T. Leslie's character, sometimes in some ways I'm better than her. The fuck? And there's Levi, who's literally a conformist and goes around saying, I don't really smoke unless someone else is smoking too. Okay. And then Reagan goes, Kath and Reagan, like, their conversations. One, I can relate to, like, Reagan I partly liked, but partly didn't. Like, I liked her in the way that she was, like, one of the only, like, semi-interesting characters in the book, but she, like, they're talking, they're like, and no being a horrible narcissistic bitch who goes off on her ex-boyfriend's affection. Like, can we relax? Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about spoilers, so stick around. If you have read this book or you don't care about being spoiled, stick around and we could talk about it a little bit. But if you've read this book, then if you haven't read this book, you might want to leave. Basically, when I was talking about the alcoholism components in this book, so we know that near the end of the book, Ren goes through a really hard time. She's in the hospital, and then it's funny because a page later, she's fine. Like, I felt like it could have done so much more with alcoholism and could have really talked about the risks of, like, teens and, like, new adults and alcoholism and alcoholism in a social setting and at college, and just totally skimmed over it, and it was like, oh, she's fine now. Not how it works. Like, I don't get why that happened. Obviously, the things going on with Kath's dad, which, again, it was never really stated what he was going through. I know I've seen a lot of people say it was bipolar representation. I'm not sure. We barely got much insight to the dad. All we got was Kath kind of being upset about things that he's going through. And again, but if there's bipolar representation, why do they joke about bipolar disorder? Like, okay, I get joking about some things can make it seem like not as bad, or there's like dark humor, but like, really? And like, no one talks about it too. Like, it's the fact that I've never seen anyone mention it. Like, it wasn't even there. Like, did I even read the same book as everybody else? Like, I'm very confused. And I don't mean that offensively, of course. It's just my opinion. So relax. Then there was the relationship between Kath and Levi. This was the grossest thing I've ever seen in my life. One, I used to like both of them at the beginning, but okay, like, no, not anymore. And then there's Nick, by the way, who is just there for, like, no reason. Like, why is Nick there? I don't know. Then there's also Kath handing in her fan fiction to a professor. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm not in college or university, but I already know that I would not hand that in to a high school teacher, an elementary school teacher, anybody. You don't hand in fan fiction. Like, at least change up the names and change up the general concept of the fan fiction, or else, like, they'll know it's fan fiction. So, like, chill. There was the thing that bothered me the most, which was Kath and Levi's relationship towards the end of the book. So basically, they're talking about having sex. Okay, great. Okay. And he's talking about how he wants to please Kath or whatever. And he goes, do you want me to show you on a doll? Did anyone else not think this was super weird? Like, not to mention, like, when someone gets sexually assaulted, especially a child, they usually show, like, the police officer or a social worker, like, on a doll, and because they don't want to talk about it or whatever. And but no, he asks her to have sex this way on a doll, like, showing her on a doll when that's used. Oh my god, I just couldn't. How is that romantic at all? Like, that bothered me so much. And then also near the end, he goes, as long as you're reading, you let me touch you. Okay, so she's comfortable reading. She's just like, I want to read, great. And he's like, then you let me touch you. Okay, ew. So basically, those were some of my problems with Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. Again, please chill in the comments. Like, you can hate some books that I like. Like, everyone has their own opinions. And if you did love this book, please let me know why down below, or why you didn't like this book. And I was super nervous to make this video, but I posted a review on Goodreads, and like, a lot of you guys were saying that you felt the same way, and how no one talks about how they dislike Fangirl. And I know Jessie's already put up her review, so I will link hers down below, and as well as her channel and Kayla's channel. I'm not sure if Kayla is going to be coming out with a video soon about it, but if she does, I'll have her channel linked down below and the video if it drops. Thank you guys so much for watching.